Welcome back to First Take. The Steelers going to go across the country to face the Chargers in prime time on Sunday night. The Chargers have won 2 in a row against Minnesota and Tennessee. However, injuries are starting to pile up. LA's offensive line struggling. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, leads the AFC North, riding high after beating the Colts by a touchdown a week ago. Despite that, the jury's still out on if Mike Tomlin's squad is truly one of the best in the NFL. So this is a big game Sunday night. Steelers at Chargers. And so, Stephen A., do you think Sunday is a litmus test for the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers?
I think it is. And the reason why I feel that way is because, first of all, before the trading deadline, I would have loved to have seen the Steelers go out and get another pass catcher, to be quite honest with you, opposite DK Metcalf, to give Aaron Rodgers an additional weapon to throw to, but that did not happen. Neither here nor there for this particular game. Here's what this comes down to. You're looking at a Chargers team and an offensive line that's ranked 31st in pressure rates allowed, okay? They're one of the worst offensive lines in football because of what you pointed out with injuries. They've got 2 of their star offensive linemen that are out for the year, okay? They've given up 28 sacks this year. The Steelers are 4th in the league, having registered 32. You look at the Steelers and how they've amped up their pressure over the last few years, over the last few weeks, even with T.J. Watt not necessarily playing at an elite level. We had trepidation about the Steelers' defense. Well, this is an opportunity to show, that you're not nearly as bad as we thought you were. You went a strong step forward by doing what you did to the Indianapolis Colts last week, which were helped by 6 turnovers, of course. But when you're going up against the Chargers, if you pressure Justin Herbert, if you get to Justin Herbert, if you expose the weaknesses on that offensive line, which is depleted and injured for Los Angeles, then obviously that should go a long way towards you being successful defensively. The Chargers go out and manage to have their way with you offensively, despite those troubles with the offensive line and their inability to really protect their quarterback and Justin Herbert. If they still go out there and light you up by putting points on the board, I think that'll be evidence for us that the Steelers defense just ain't gonna be anything that we hope for them to be this season.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, right? It's about how you perceive this question or how you comprehend it. I don't think if you beat the Chargers, that says to the rest of the AFC that you are the elite of the elite. But if you lose to them, that tells me that you aren't a team that could compete in the playoffs against the Buffalo Bills, against some of the better teams in this conference. When you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's look at the 2 best defensive games that they've played. You go back to early on in the season, the ability to turn the football over 5 times against the New England Patriots, and then what we saw last week against the Indianapolis Colts. Lightning doesn't strike that many times, and it's already struck twice for this team. And so how do you play against Justin Herbert? How do you put pressure on him without Joe Alt? They've been playing without Rashawn Slater the entire season. And then offensively, can you attack Jesse Minter's defense without having an extra pass catcher outside of DK Metcalf? What you've seen from this team is this. They're willing to go 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. 1 back, 3 tight ends, and 13 personnel. Use Darnell Washington as a mismatch. Can you sustain that and win in big games with that offense from Arthur Smith? And I think this week will show us a lot about that after playing so well against Indianapolis.
I mean, so not only is it a litmus test for the Steelers, I'm saying the same thing about the Chargers. They started this year off explosive, going to Brazil, beating the Chiefs, then doubling down, with having some good-looking wins, so to speak. I think when I think about the Steelers and even the Los Angeles Chargers, they're what I would kind of compare as a tier 2 to potentially tier 3 team, right in the tweener to say, like, are they good enough to really be compared to skill set running a deep playoff run? Now, we know what the insufficiencies for the Pittsburgh Steelers are, but we also know what the strengths are as well, getting after the quarterback from what we've seen last week. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers has a deficiency with protecting the quarterback. Whose worst is going to play the best? Then when you start to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, hey, are we going to have any type of skill position step up to the opportunity and to really have a coming out party? Hence, one person, DK Metcalf. So when you start to say who's better, who's this, litmus test, comparing, contrasting, both teams have opportunities to make not just a statement this week, because it's bigger than a statement. It's just to stack days to say, like, hey, we want to put ourselves in the best situation to make the deepest playoff run as possible.
I'm going to just take this one step further. If the Steelers, because we all kind of agree this is a bit of a litmus test for the Steelers, if the Steelers do win, they do beat the Chargers in a convincing manner, the way they did, I would say, against the Colts. So now they've strung together 2 wins against the Colts and the Chargers, 2 teams we would assume are playoff teams. Then will you believe fully in the Steelers, Stephen A?
Hell no. Hell no. No, we're not going to do that. Listen, let's look at the victory over the Colts. Give the Steelers credit. They said Jonathan Taylor ain't beating us. Daniel Jones, go out there and figure it out. Because they believe what we all believe, that what we've been seeing ain't really the real story about Daniel Jones. It's somewhere in the middle. Not quite as awful as he was with the New York Giants, not quite as great as he's been with the Indianapolis Colts. Him and Sam Darnold are 2 interesting stories. They're different because Sam Darnold, I think, is an MVP candidate, but Daniel Jones, you're not looking at that way. Here's the point, though. The turnovers is what neutralized the Indianapolis Colts, because off their turnovers, the Steelers scored 24 points. Mm-hmm. Without those turnovers, the Steelers offense couldn't generate but 3 points. We go into Sunday night's game, and what we're saying is, without Slater, without Alt, without Mekhi Becton, okay, you look at what's transpired with the offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers, and you're saying, oh, Justin Herbert can be pressured. Oh, he's been sacked 32 times. Oh, you could get to this brother. Get to him. If you win, the Steelers could win. What if they won, RC or Cam? 35-32, 38-35, right? And the Steelers couldn't get to Justin Herbert. We gonna look at them and say, damn, how'd that happen? You're supposed to be able to get to that, brother, because we've seen how vulnerable the Chargers were, Shay. That's what I'm talking about. It's not about winning. It's how you do it. Okay. It's how you do it in this game.
That's fair.
But you know what, though?
I'll add something.
Okay.
Just real quick. I don't think last week was a statement win for the Steelers. I really don't. I think when you have a performance like 6 turnovers, that's not normal. That's a rarity. So for that to be something that they come off and say, I just want to see if they can generate turnovers moving forward. Not 6, maybe 1 or 2. And then you come in from a dynamic with the Chargers as well, too. So that's all.
First off, Stephen A., you know what? I thought, now that you didn't have to host the show anymore and we had Shay and you weren't juggling responsibilities, I felt like a little bit of the double dutching would go away. I felt like you wouldn't hop from one side of being a Steeler fan to the other side of being a Steeler hater. I thought that you would actually get in the rope and give me some rhythm. But clearly, you can't do that. Clearly, you're looking for a reason to hate on the Steelers. Yes, if they go win this game, this says something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. This says consistency. And then here we go. Oh, we can't count it. A statement win against the Indianapolis Colts. We were saying the Indianapolis Colts was the best team in the AFC. And now, if you go create those turnovers, that's playing football. It's not that Daniel Jones just sat back and said, here, TJ, take the ball from me. Here, Joey, take the ball from me. Here, Peyton Wilson, take the ball from me. No, they went out and made plays like A players are supposed to do in big football games. And Cam, I'm ashamed of you. Ashamed. Because you let Stephen Anthony convince you that you should ride with him, that it wasn't a statement win, that if they win this game, it doesn't matter. It absolutely does. This is a team that's 6-3. After beating a team that was 7-1, after changing your defense with Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey at safety and Terrell Austin coming up with a plan to stop and create turnovers and
you.